Hi, and welcome to Listening and Perception with Norman Varney. I am Norman Varney. Unlike other courses that are more specific to, say, the recording engineer or the musician, this one would apply to anybody interested in audio or audio reproduction. With my background as a recording engineer, a musician, an audiophile, and an acoustical engineer by trade, I will bring a broader perspective, a more rounded perspective. And in this course, in these short little courses, you'll learn the terminology and be able to recognize and communicate well with those in those other fields. Along the way, you will learn how and why you perceive particular audio phenomenon. We'll accomplish this through the aid of audio demonstrations and visual graphics. Through this course, you can expect to become comfortable conversing with those in other audio trades, for example, musicians, recording engineers, acousticians, audiophiles, and so forth, because of the fact that you will have experience and understand the terminology. We'll cover changes in sound as influenced by equipment, setup, acoustics, and even psychoacoustics. On a personal note, I do not believe in the statement, if it cannot be measured, it cannot be heard. There are many things that we can perceive that we cannot measure at this time. Even with the current technology and test devices that we have, the ear-brain mechanism is vastly superior, vastly more complex and three-dimensional than simple test tones on a test bench that are then by ourselves categorized into units of measurement. There are certainly some things that we can measure that we can't hear, but there are many things that we can perceive that we cannot measure, even with the current state of the art. Even though in the last 10 or 20 years, we've come leaps and bounds as far as technology and understanding of the ear-brain mechanism and emotions and so forth. But simple test tones on a test bench are pretty flat and undescriptive. That's not to say that measurements are not important. They are. They are helpful in investigating. They are helpful in quality control, etc. But for example, there isn't any data that is going to be able to tell you how something is going to sound. It's not going to give you the descriptions that we would use when we are listening to music. For example, if I were to evaluate the sound of a speaker or a piece of equipment or something like that, I would be able to do that in a matter, or anybody for that matter, would be able to, who is experienced. Hence the purpose of this training series. You would be able to do that in a matter of seconds, where on a test bench you might get in the ballpark, but it would take you maybe days of testing with using simple test tones and so forth, and still, like I say, it's not going to give you as accurate a description. You wouldn't be able to evaluate it as accurately as you could with your own ears and brain and experience in a matter of seconds. Because of our limited and let's say old ways of measuring that we are currently dealing with, there are many instances where it can measure well and not sound well, and vice versa. Science and technology continues to evolve, but we're not there yet as far as being able to look at data on a piece of paper and have it tell you how it's going to sound. As I mentioned earlier, this training course, this ear training course, is going to be a bit more broad and well-rounded. We're talking about the whole audio chain. So we will be discussing the recording, the equipment reproducing the recording, the acoustics of the room, and how we perceive it. I believe that critical listening is developed, and like most anything, with an understanding, with education, and with practice and experience. And through this course, you'll be able to quickly recognize and evaluate audio systems, which will include, as I mentioned, the whole chain. If this sounds good to you, be sure and subscribe below so that you're notified when the next video in the series drops. Thanks.